Hi, it's Dreyer and welcome to another Wealth Insight video lesson. Today I want to talk about 3 common property investment mistakes I see that most property investors are making, so-called property investors. And I will also give you some strategies on how to avoid these mistakes. I know that a lot of people who invested in property are feeling the brunt of the investments in these troubled economic times. But people, this is not due to the market, but rather to the way in which they choose to invest when the markets were booming. You see, most people follow the mainstream investment strategies. When the economy is booming, all the experts are basically on the bandwagon. And suddenly every Tom, Dick and Harry are property investment gurus. What most potential investors do not know is that many of the so-called experts are not expert property investors at all. But people, they are unscrupulous salesmen. And they are making a killing in sales because of the greed factor of the masses. The situation in which a lot of the so-called property investors find themselves now is directly and a direct consequence of their own actions and their ignorance to do calculations and to calculate the true risk that is inherent in all property investments. They also do not take responsibility for their own investment decisions when the markets were booming, because they rely on the advice of the experts. And now the so-called experts are not paying the price, they are. So let me share with you 3 main mistakes which property investors tend to make and which will affect the positive growth and the sustainability of the investments. If these 3 mistakes can be avoided, then the chances of building a sustainable property portfolio will increase dramatically. Okay, let's look at the first mistake. And I would definitely say that is risk management. Far too many people are ignorant, and they are really and truly ignorant as to how to go about managing and determining the risk when it comes to property investment. In my Property Pro Investment DVD home study course, I stress the importance of taking calculated risk to my students. I have systems and tools in place by which I'm able to do very accurate risk assessments for any given properties, really anywhere in the world. Now, this enables me to know how my investment will react in the worst case scenario, and because I can do so with the help of the Property Pro investment system, I am able to see whether I will be able to sustain this investment and still make money no matter what happens in the market. Knowing how to calculate your risk is an essential when it comes to property investments. And this is one of the main reasons why I've developed the Property Pro investment system in the first place. That was to help me. And now it's to help and to give my students the tools and the knowledge and the experience which they need to be able to invest wisely and safely. Okay, so what's the second mistake? Most people buy the wrong property because they base their investment decision on emotions rather than on a proven property investment system. It's a fact. I would say 99% of the people are doing it. Yes, it is a fact that most properties will increase in value over time, but the true science is to be able to select only those properties which will by far outperform the average. Not a little bit, by far. You see, the average property investment is not a good investment at all, contrary to what the experts are trying to tell us. Too many people will allow their emotions to rule their property investment, and they'll do that by listening to the gurus, without taking the time and the effort to check if the so-called investments will give them the necessary growth that they expect from their investments. Now, please, unless you've done the calculations before you make an investment decision, you must know that you are making an emotional decision. And although these decisions normally feel good in the beginning, they almost always turn out to be very bad when the market turns sour, like it is currently doing. The way to avoid feeling bad about your investment decisions is to always do your homework and do the calculations, please, before you invest in property. choosing the correct properties to invest in by applying the Property Pro investment system, I promise you will greatly increase your growth on your investment and at the same time will minimize the risk. Okay, let's look at the third one. The third mistake most property investors are making is that they do not spend the necessary time and effort to plan their investment. I personally do not understand how people can expect to become financially free when they spend more time planning their weekend away than what they do on their own financial, let's call it freedom planning. To do effective planning, one needs to have definite goals, strategies and systems in place. It is for this reason that I developed the property, first of all, the Formula for Riches, and I incorporated the Formula for Riches in systems like the Property Pro investment system, the Wealth Pro financial freedom system, and lately the Control Center internet marketing system, to name but a few. By using these systems, I can effectively save myself a lot of time and effort and still get to my end goal. But without the right systems, it would be impossible for me because I will not know where I am and how my investments or my businesses are performing and what actions to take in order to get a better growth on my money or to minimize my risk. But it is no good if you have a perfect system and you do not know how to use it. This is why I say the first law of a property investor is always to invest in yourself first. And this is going to take a bit of time and a bit of effort in the beginning, but only in the beginning. So my advice to you is to always invest in yourself first by learning how the systems work and how to optimize them. It is the people who have taken the time to invest in themselves first and gain the understanding of how property investments really work that will truly benefit from the investments in property, both in the good times as well as in the bad times. Now let's summarize. The most important thing in property is first to know the risk and how to manage that. Risk kills. The second thing is to follow a proven system and not to invest based on your emotions. Now, by the way, I've been using the Property Pro investment system since 1987, and in the last, I think it's 23 years, almost 23 years, I've never made a bad property investment. So I can tell you that it works. And the third thing is to invest in yourself first. Before you invest in a property or any other investment or a business, invest in yourself and make sure that you understand what you are doing. The best piece of advice that I can give you at this stage perhaps is please don't trust the experts. Learn to do the calculations yourself. Let me see if I can add more value. If you can ask me just one question about property investments, what would that question be? Submit your question in the comment section and maybe you will hear the answer in one of my future Wealth Insight video lessons. Please also let me know in the comment section if this lesson has added some value, or you can use the comment section also if you want to share some of your own wealth insights. Thank you for your time. Hope to see you in the next lesson.